Well, Joe Biden stepped in it. Thank you, Joe Biden. I really appreciate you calling half of America garbage. Now, Kamala Harris was hoping to ride this Tony Hinchcliffe incident that happened at Madison Square Garden, where he made a horrible joke about the nation state or the island of Puerto Rico. So Kamala Harris was hoping to ride that wave all the way until Election Day, until suddenly something happened with Joe Biden. What happened? Let's play video clip number 9, Gabe. This put a serious dent in their campaign, in Kamala's campaign. Let's roll it.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Joe Biden. Thanks, Joe. I really appreciate it. Could you imagine Kamala Harris's campaign when they heard Joe Biden said that? The media, mainstream media, is going apoplectic, trying their best to try to cover it and pretend like, oh, there was an apostrophe there. They were just talking about Tony Hinchcliffe, the comedian, and all of this kind of nonsense. I mean, they are bending over backwards to try to excuse Joe Biden for saying exactly what he said, trying to pretend as if he didn't say what he said. Now, this follows a long line of things that are names that the Democrat Party, these left-wing radicals like Joe Biden, has already called us. Remember, it was Barack Obama said, "Hey, we're clinging to we're bitter clingers, right? We're clinging to our guns and to our Bibles." With Hillary Clinton, we were deplorables. When it comes to Kamala Harris and the Biden administration, we've been everything from Nazis to fascists, you name it. And now apparently we're garbage. And you had Kamala Harris that had to be coaxed into somewhat denouncing what Joe Biden has said. Nevertheless, I think this is going to I think this is going to hurt the Kamala Harris campaign. I don't know to what extent, just like I think the Tony Hinchcliffe joke to some extent might convince some people to sit out this election. And I think that's what you're looking at when it comes to both of these men. I think basically what you have are people that are fixed on the guy that they want to go for. There may be a few undecideds in between, a few percentage points. And I think there's a lot of people that simply are going to decide to stick this out. But Trump has done some great recovery. He's trolled Joe Biden on this. Kamala Harris gave a speech as well yesterday. Nobody really knows what she said, so I'm going to break it down for you. She talked about the same old usual stuff. J6, she talked about she repeated 3 lies on abortion. She talked about how she was going to save the economy through price gouging. She lied about her immigration bill again. And if only Trump had not pressured Republicans to go against her bipartisan amnesty bill. And that's what it was, an amnesty bill. And it wasn't bipartisan by any stretch of the imagination. She didn't even have enough senators, Democrat senators, that wanted to vote for it. But we had one Terry or Langford, I forget his first name right now, but we had Senator Langford of Oklahoma that was willing to sign on to the bill. And we had a few congressmen on the Republican side. But by and large, that was a Democrat bill, and it was overwhelmingly an amnesty bill. She also talked about that people who disagree with her are not the enemy. I'm going to break that down because that's absolutely not true. And she spoke again about this, the rally the rally that Trump had at Madison Square Garden. Obviously, her deal was okay. Trump, he upset Latinos with this Tony Hinchcliffe guy. All the while, actually, almost simultaneously, Joe Biden was sabotaging her campaign. And I want to make this emphatically clear because I know there's a lot of people that believe that Joe Biden did this on purpose. I don't think he did. I think Joe Biden is upset. There's no doubt about it with Kamala Harris. I don't think, I think he's upset about being thrown under the bus, having the presidency stolen from him. And I do believe that was a soft coup that we mentioned. But I think that was Joe Biden being Joe Biden. Joe Biden wanting to act like the tough guy. I think that's basically what we saw. But Trump went ahead, as Trump often does. He went ahead and trolled Joe Biden. Let's play these couple of clips real quick. Trump responded to Joe Biden's garbage comments about calling, Americans garbage or Trump supporters or half of America's voters garbage by doing this. Let's roll those couple of clips. I believe they're 12 and 13, Gabe.
And I have to begin by saying 250 million Americans are not garbage.
Now, I don't know where Trump gets that 250 million Americans from, but I suspect what he means are that working Americans that are patriots. And I suspect that he sees everybody, whether Puerto Ricans, blacks, whites, Asians, Latinos in general, I believe that Trump is grouping us all together in an American group, as opposed to all of these little dividing groups, these subgroups, if you will. The Democrats try to create this victimhood mentality within all of these groups so that they can then go in and, they cause a problem, they cause frustration, they cause anger amongst these groups and say, hey, the Democrat Party is here to help you out. But things never get better because the Democrat Party never intends for them to get better. But there you saw Trump at a rally trolling Joe Biden. After Joe Biden called Trumpsters garbage. And Trump went on to say there were, I think we have another video, but he went on to say some great things. He wasn't going to wear that jacket. We don't have that particular video, but he wasn't going to wear the sanitation jacket or uniform or outfit, if you will, or the vest. But he said one of the people on his staff said, hey, you look thinner with that on, so because he wanted to wear his suit jacket. And the guy's very transparent. Sometimes to a fault, but also to a point where you're like, I can relate to that guy. The reason why people can relate to Donald Trump, despite the fact that he's a billionaire, is because he's a person that's hung around the construction workers. There was a black gentleman that said, and I forget whom it was, forgive me, but Trump used to come around and hang around, some of the establishments and bars with blacks and stuff like that back in the day. Thought nothing of it. He wouldn't come with security. He would just come and talk to people, hang out with people. These were people that he was willing to hang around with. He wanted to get to know different groups, different people, and that's just who he was. So you got to give him credit for that type of stuff, and it's paying off in his presidential campaign because the guy can be absolutely transparent. I can't say the same as Kamala Harris. She is a packaged person. I want you to hear this video clip. This is what New York City Mayor Eric Adams had to say regarding all of the Nazi statements that are being thrown at Trump and his supporters. Here's what Mayor Eric Adams had to say. Let's roll video clip number 8, please, Gabe.
And they're talking about these real problems we're having. And with all that's going on to everyday New Yorkers, we're asking questions that is someone a fascist or is someone a Hitler. That's insulting to me. That is insulting. And I'm not going to engage in that. Everyone needs to turn down the rhetoric. Because after Election Day, we still have to be the United States and not the divided states. And so if people can't understand there are real issues facing New Yorkers, and I just find it just humiliating that what everyday mom and pops are doing and going through across this country, that here we are having this conversation about this silly item. So I refuse to participate in that. I'm going to fight for New Yorkers like I've done for years, and whomever can understand that, they're not in the streets. When I'm at these town halls, talking to people there, they're not asking me these silly questions. We are in this bubble, and I know you guys really believe these stories you're writing. It gives you a lot of clicks. It's exciting and give you headlines. But this is not what New Yorkers and Americans are dealing with, folks. They are scared of their future.
You get the gist. And I'm actually really glad that the mayor came out and said that. Now, some might argue, and I might be one of those people, that Mayor Eric Adams he's under scrutiny with the DOJ for lavish gifts that he was given from the Turkish government. But by the way, which many attorneys have said, listen, this would be no more than a misdemeanor, slap on the wrist or whatever, but they're going after this guy for whatever motivation. A lot of people are suspicious that it may be because he spoke out on illegal immigration and the borders. Maybe, but he still seemed to be playing the game inside of New York because all of these illegal immigrants were getting their checks. So I'm not sure if that was just for show or not. So maybe he is angling for a pardon, but nevertheless, what he said is true. To go around and calling people Nazis and fascists and all this kind of stuff and stoking division, that's what the left has been doing. And Joe Biden absolutely stepped in it when he called his fellow Americans, when he called Trumpsters garbage. This is a campaign. This is an administration in the Biden-Harris administration that said they were going to try to unite Americans. They were going to do a better job than Trump. Are you tired of the nastiness? All this kind of stuff that they used to say. Even Kamala Harris's campaign used to be a campaign of joy. It's no longer a campaign of joy. She's been very vicious. Actually, we'll talk about that in the next block because I want to go through her speech. All she did was do the same old Kamala Harris. She lied, she lied, she lied. I want to play this last video clip in this block. This is Donald Trump again trolling Joe Biden for calling his voters garbage and connecting with fellow Americans. Let's roll video clip number 13, Gabe.
I'm going to make a speech. We're going to then try and beat the weather out because we have some bad weather coming in. But I just wanted to let you know that 250 million people, that's what I think the real number is for making America great again. 250 million, the real number. They don't think in terms of garbage, okay? They don't use terms like that. And it's a shame. And Joe Biden should be ashamed of himself if he knows what he's even doing. And she should be ashamed because she shouldn't let him do it. She's the vice president, but I assume she's acting as the president. She should never have let that happen. I hope you enjoyed this garbage truck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. 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 Let's go. Let's go.
You're listening to The Carl Jackson Show. Please make sure you subscribe wherever you go to get your podcast. The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find me. We'll be back in a few. Hey, Carl Jackson here. A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss, and it is your gain. For the first time ever, you can get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices. That's just $14.88, but it gets even better. For a limited time, they're offering their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. So you can get a queen size MyPillow for just $18.88 or upgrade to a king size for just $1 more. You can get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L, or call 800-858-0263 to take advantage of this wholesale pricing for the first time ever. And on top of that, receive free shipping on orders that are over $75. They have never been offered this low before. There are limited quantities at this price, so the limit is 10. And once they're gone, they are gone. Again, go to MyPillow.com, use the promo code Carl, or give them a call at 800-858-0263. Again, use promo code Carl to get the standard MyPillow for just $14.88, the lowest price ever. All right, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. You may not have seen it because most Americans did not, including Kamala Harris supporters, but Kamala Harris gave an uneventful speech, or at least her teleprompter did, at the Ellipse yesterday, the very place that Trump gave a speech on January 6th. And yeah, of course, she was trying to reckon back to the days of January 6th as if this is going to motivate people to vote for her. I suspect that some left-wing radicals that really hate Donald Trump are going to be motivated to vote against Donald Trump for January 6th and for this specific purpose. Because remember, another thing that the Biden-Harris administration has been telling their voters for quite some time is that Trump supporters, or Trump is a threat to democracy. Therefore, those of us that vote for Trump must be a threat to democracy as well. But Kamala Harris, again, Joe Biden totally destroyed any momentum that she may have had using this Tony Hinchcliffe comedian that was at the Madison Square Garden rally that said that very stupid joke about Puerto Rico. Biden snatched all of that away when he called Trump supporters a bunch of garbage. Now, again, it was a joke. It was a bad joke. But nevertheless, the media was using that joke for all it was worth until Joe Biden stepped in it. So Kamala Harris gave this speech last night, and I don't think it's going to gain much traction. I do believe that everyone that's going to vote for Kamala Harris for the most part are going to vote for Kamala Harris. The same is true with Trump, although some could argue, and some have been arguing, saying, listen, there are some undecideds, believe it or not, that are out there. There are these low propensity voters that may support one candidate or the other, but they don't show up to the polls. So we'll have to see that. But at this point, what both of these candidates are trying to do is make sure they get their base out, make sure that everyone that says they're going to vote for Trump votes for Trump. The same is true as Kamala Harris. So I'm wondering if she was able to say anything the other night that was able to motivate her voters to get out and vote. So let's check and see if she said anything new or anything fresh. Let's go to video clip number 1. This is Kamala Harris. Oh, what is this? She's talking about the armed mob again. She's talking about January 6th. I'm sure that's going to bring down your grocery prices, your gas prices, your rent, your mortgage. Let's hear what she had to say about that, Gabe.
Look, we know who Donald Trump is. He is the person who stood at this very spot nearly 4 years ago
Man, she
and
has to
sent
read
an
that
armed
teleprompter alone.
mob to the United States Capitol to overturn the will of the people in a free and fair election. An election that he knew he lost. Americans died as a result of that attack. 140 law enforcement officers were injured because of that attack.
Okay, let's stop it there.
And why?
All right, so that is an absolute lie, and that lie can be easily debunked. On January 6th, there weren't armed protesters there. There were several people that carried pepper spray or bear spray. Some people were carrying flagpoles and clubs. One guy was walking with a cane. They considered that a weapon. This is complete and utter nonsense. There were no firearms on the grounds, on the Capitol grounds. Some had firearms stashed nearby. Very few, 3 people, at least 3 anyway, according to the Heritage Foundation, had 3 firearms stashed nearby, but not on Capitol grounds. Here's the truth. Harris is correct that people died, but only 2 people died directly from January 6th. And one of those people, actually both of those people, were Trump supporters. Ashley Babbitt was shot, and forgive me, I forget the name of the woman, and I feel so bad that I do. But another woman that was a Trump supporter was stampeded as a result of the rioters. But actually, there has been some video that has surfaced that suggests that she may have been poisoned by the chemical irritants that some of the Capitol Police were using. Others died of natural causes or suicide, maybe or maybe not related to the event, but they did not die that day. And then obviously you had Brian Sicknick, a Capitol Police officer that died of natural causes. Unfortunately, he had a stroke, but he had a stroke sometime later, and they continue to attribute that. So this is a complete and utter lie. And what Trump was trying to do is to make sure he sent the electors, if you will, back to the states to recertify the election, because it looked like there were a lot of shenanigans that went on. He believed the election was rigged. And by the way, you have the right and you have the freedom inside of the United States of America to question elections. Democrats do it every election cycle. They question, Hillary Clinton does to this day, whether or not she won or lost. The same is true with Stacey Abrams. The same is true with Al Gore. As a matter of fact, when I was sitting in for Larry Elder, I literally had a list of probably about 150 Democrats that were election deniers just over the last, since 2000. I mean, it's absolutely astounding. Let's move on. What did Kamala Harris have to say as well? She talked about abortion. Let's roll video clip number 2.
That is immoral. And Trump's not done. He would ban abortion nationwide, restrict access to birth control and put IVF treatments at risk, and force states to monitor women's pregnancies. Just Google Project 2025.
Okay, so let's stop there.
And read the plans for yourself.
All right, let's stop there. Now, I'm a Christian. I'm a conservative. I disagree with Trump on some of these abortion issues, but I will say this. Trump has never said that he wanted a national ban. He said the exact opposite, which is why many Christians were upset with him. He also said when it comes to IVF or in vitro fertilization, he will not oppose it. As a matter of fact, he wants to use federal tax dollars to subsidize it, which I completely disagree with. Now, when it comes to the big boogeyman, Project 2025, this is a complete and utter lie. Listen, Project 2025 is very simple. It is basically, it was created by Heritage Foundation, which is a think tank. It's something that they do all of the time. Now, here's what it does. They have, it's 3 parts. It consists of 3 parts. A mandate for leadership, which is a list of policies that the Heritage Foundation would recommend. And then it has a database of conservatives who would be interested in joining the conservative or a conservative administration, and trainings for those particular people as well. So there you have a mandate for leadership with a list of policies. 2, you have a database of conservatives who might be interested in joining a Trump administration. And 3, how to train them. And that's nothing more than making sure that when President Trump gets in office, Lord willing, all right, he wins the election, he's ready to go on day one. That's all Project 2025 is about. Now, there's a false claim about forcing states to monitor women's pregnancies. that, according to Heritage, comes from a twisting of a policy advocating the mandate for leadership. Even left-leaning outlets like PolitiFact, however, have rightly branded this claim false. Heritage says the Project 2025 document does not call for the federal government to force states to monitor women's pregnancies. What it does do, however, is urge the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, to require every state to submit abortion data. All right. Currently, the CDC does not require states to submit abortion data. This lady is just a liar. Now, we go on to clip number 3 because she has a solution for the economy. What do you know? More price gouging, I believe. Let's go ahead and roll video clip 3, please, Kate.
I have been honored to serve as Joe Biden's vice president.
She has to read the
But I will bring
teleprompter
my
to say
own
that.
experiences and ideas to the Oval Office. My presidency will be different because the challenges we face are different. Our top priority as a nation 4 years ago was to end the pandemic and rescue the economy. Now, our biggest challenge is to lower costs that were rising even before the pandemic and that are still too high. I get it. I still remember our mother sitting at that yellow Formica table, late at night,
Lord.
cup of tea in hand, a pile of bills in front of her, trying to make it all work.
And a big fat
And I've heard
six-figure
from
check.
so many of you who are facing even greater financial pressures. Donald.
Okay. All right. So basically her solution, how much time do we have left, Gabe? Basically her solution was price gouging. She wants to get rid of price gouging, a federal ban on price gouging. What she doesn't tell you is that these grocery stores operate on margins that are 1 and 2%, maybe 3 or 4% in some cases, very slim margins. So that would not help with inflation. As a matter of fact, that would make things a lot worse. If grocery stores aren't allowed to make profits, it's going to be insane. People are going to get fired. It's not going to work. We're going to look like Venezuela, where people are going to be scampering for one particular product till the product runs out. It's just not a good thing. And it's so sad. It shows that she's absolutely economic illiterate. And by the way, when she and Joe Biden took office, the inflation rate was approximately 1.4%, virtually non-existent. With the Inflation Reduction Act, they took it all the way up to 9%, and it was due to government spending. Also, what she talked about, we don't have time for the video, but she talked about immigration and big bad Trump. Pressured Republicans not to sign on to her bipartisan bill, which wasn't bipartisan really, by the way, with the exception of one senator and a couple of congressmen, that would have codified illegal immigration into law. And we've seen how she treats pro-lifers that disagree with her, like David Dillaudin. And by the way, she's been very nasty with all Americans, not just the Latino community. So she doesn't have a right to condemn anyone. This is Carl Jackson. We'll be back in a few to close it out.